What's going on, YouTube? Alright, I wanted to make a quick video on how to calculate macros. First off, what are macros? Well, if you don't know what macros are, this is not the video for you. This is not a tutorial on what are macros, whatever. The point of this video is to teach you guys an easy way on how to calculate macros. Carbs, fat, protein, in case you didn't know. Anyway, pretty much everybody on YouTube for some reason posts these crazy formulas where you calculate how many calories and how many carbs and fat, and yeah, that's what calculating macros is, but guess what? There's a way easier way to do that. There's a website. It's called IIFYM. Simple, right? There's a calculator there. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to show you guys how to simply calculate your macros to hit your goals. Bulk up, cut down, whatever. It's really simple, so keep watching, and hopefully you guys find this useful. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is open your web browser, go to the website IIFYM.com, right? So that's the website we're at right now. Then you're going to want to click right over here onto the calculator. Right, it's the IIFYM calculator as opposed to all these other guys up here. It's real simple. So first off, this first part is going to calculate your maintenance calories. So this is just in case you haven't already figured that out yourself. So it's somewhat accurate. So let's say, for example, you're a 25-year-old male, you're 5'8", and you weigh 200 pounds. You will adjust this based upon your activity level. So pretty standard is, I'd say, 3 times a week hitting the weights. Next, there's different formulas that you can choose from. So this first one just uses a simple calculation, and then the lean mass one is a bit more accurate if you happen to already know your body fat. So let's assume we don't, and we're going to calculate our TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure. So these are some suggested numbers that they have for fat loss or bulking, maintenance, etc. Honestly, I think the best thing to do is calculate your maintenance on your own if you've got the time to do that, and there you'd be able to enter in the custom calories. So let's say if you're not sure how to do that, pretty much you would just calculate your macros for, you'd track your macros rather for about a week or two. As long as your weight doesn't fluctuate, you can assume the average calories for each day is around your maintenance. And then, say, depending on what your goal was, you could enter that in here for your total calories. You know, if you're going to do fat loss, maybe a few hundred calorie deficit, and bulking, a few hundred calorie excess is pretty much the general way they do it. If you notice here for fat loss, they start off with a pretty standard 500 calorie deficit. A lot of people will actually recommend against that and choose a little bit less aggressive. So this is 15% as they're suggested, and aggressive would be 20%. Most people would probably even say less than that. So let's just say your maintenance was 2569 or something like that. You might want to even choose something like 2350, let's say, and you could do that, enter your own. So let's just keep their maintenance number just for argument's sake. Over here we're going to go down to the plans. They give you a bunch of different ways you could do it. Enter your own ratio. If you want to do a low carb, what's the textbook say? IIFYM is the one I would recommend. So for protein, it starts you off with a standard 1 gram per pound of body weight. That is pretty acceptable, pretty standard as well. Honestly, if you're kind of fat, that's probably a little bit overkill. And if you're a female, that's probably a little bit on the higher side. That, at least for what's necessary for optimal muscle gains and strength and hypertrophy, all that kind of stuff. So if you're on the fatter side, you could probably go to custom and bring this down to like 0.8 grams per pound of body weight without much issue. Again, you might want to also consider doing it a little bit lower if you're short on cash, just because protein tends to be the most expensive macronutrient to buy. Let's just leave it at 1 for argument's sake. Now fat. This is kind of personal preference. 0.4 grams per pound body weight is pretty standard. And again, you can always adjust this in the future, so we'll leave that. And then carbs will be calculated automatically. So we click calculate, and from here we scroll down, and you can see it nicely laid out what we're looking for. So carbs in this case would be around 260, 200 protein, and 80 fat. This fiber number, 40 to 50, honestly ignore that. This part of the calculator is a little bit screwy. If you're a male and you're trying to be healthy, stick with around 30, your goal of 30-ish grams of fiber per day as a minimum. You should be pretty okay with that. So overall, this is a really great calculator. Carbs, fat, protein is what you want to worry about. Again, the fiber is kind of weird. The calculator doesn't really work that well. So that's it. I hope it was helpful.